to one of the most widely held stocks in the market, that's Nvidia. So I was just looking at the charts myself. I'm not a chart master like you are, but I was looking at the charts myself. Since CES, which is a very small part of this chart, I'm looking at Nvidia, down just about 8% since there. We all thought that alligator jacket would lead to a rally. I guess it didn't. But you're saying there's a trend here that you're seeing as well that's setting up Nvidia for a potential bounce.
Yeah, so despite a lot of the carnage we've seen in semis since last July, when you look at Nvidia, this continues to be a standout leader. And similar to the broader S&P, the stock has pulled back to almost exactly where it needs to think that, okay, it's a great risk reward. Short-term weakness, but no longer-term trend damage. Investors want to be buyers into this pullback.
All right, so I just want to ask you this. Nvidia is a chip stock. These are cyclical stocks. So when you're looking at the technicals of this stock and you see this trend, any concern that the cycle comes to an end at some point, and that's the downturn?
Well, we have to let the stock tell us that. Okay. And unfortunately, we can't bet against ongoing uptrends. You know, most of the stocks is down about 15, 16% from its July peaks of last year. Nvidia still within striking distance of all-time highs. So, you know, it seems like a very severe short-term pullback. The key lesson for investors is always put the short-term price movement into context of what the longer-term charts are showing. And so the longer-term charts show this remains in great shape.
One day following the business CEO's presentation, BofA sponsored an investor dinner in Las Vegas with Nvidia CFO Colette Kress, IR Stuart Stecker, and Andrew Nguyen. The company reaffirmed its buy recommendation on Nvidia, citing a 190 price target. The company has observed progress in AI, robotics, AI workstations, and autonomous driving, and it is growing more confident in its role as an AI incubator. Additionally, the company thinks Nvidia is ahead of the curve in leveraging a $2 trillion infrastructure opportunity. However, because of possible China limitations and product changes, volatility might last until February's Q4 earnings. The company's top sector pick is Nvidia, and BofA thinks the March GTC conference will be a major trigger. AI is still a revolutionary force that is propelling improvements in a variety of industries through automation, data analytics, and better infrastructure. Almost every industry is changing as a result of its adoption, including robotics, cloud computing, and manufacturing. The long-term potential of AI to transform sectors and open up new economic prospects appears indisputable, despite the fact that managing demand and scaling applications can present certain difficulties. AllianceBernstein's CIO for Thematic Innovation Equities, Lei Qiu, talked about how her team finds key long-term themes that propel stock performance outside of economic cycles. The company concentrates on important topics, like artificial intelligence, which dominated 2023 and 2024. The adoption of AI applications, such as developments in data analytics, cloud migration, networking, and communication equipment, is being actively watched in addition to the enabling of AI infrastructure. These developments are important for linking smaller, more power-efficient data centers. Qiu emphasized how businesses are already experiencing significant cost savings in sectors like manufacturing, thanks to automation and artificial intelligence. She also discussed the prospects for growth in 2025 in adjacent fields like the Internet of Things, robotics, and autonomous systems. So, what implications does this have for Nvidia's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on Nvidia stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now, let's get back to the video.
Raskin. Stacey, always good to have you. What do you make of these newest regulations and the impact perhaps on some of the companies you cover, in particular Nvidia?
Yeah, it's a little hard to judge impact right now, but we can talk about like what they're doing. So they're putting constraints on the amount of compute capacity that can be shipped out of the U.S. to a certain number of countries. There's 18 countries where they're sort of like favored nation status, kind of business as usual. Customers in those countries can pretty much build as much as they want in those countries. There's a set of countries, you know, China and Russia and other ones that are under like arms embargo where you're not allowed to ship anything. None of those things are really any change. It's in the middle, the other countries where the interesting sort of dynamics happen. Those countries have very sharp limits on how much compute capacity can get put in them, unless the customers themselves sort of agree to conform to certain standards, basically, you know, be good citizens and the like. And if that's the case, then those customers can build in those countries. But those customers will be limited by how much compute capacity they can deploy. So if you kind of run through it, it's probably manageable for now. But my guess would be as we go along over the next years, these constraints in general are probably unlikely to loosen, right? We're sort of in an arms race with some other actors in the world, and these constraints in general are likely to tighten up. And in general, that sort of thing it's not great, right? I think right now the overall demand for this stuff is such that this can probably be worked through. And like I said, it does seem like it's workable, but it remains to be seen how these dynamics will play out as we go forward, and whether and how these different kinds of constraints continue to get tightened. And now we have the new administration coming in, which throws a whole.
In the final days of his presidency, President Joe Biden has stepped up his efforts to advance artificial intelligence, AI policies. 3 regulatory levels that would significantly reduce AI chip shipments to a number of countries with which the United States has tense relations were unveiled by President Biden last week. Tech industry outrage followed the White House's announcement today that it will expand this worldwide AI effort. In a swift response on the AI framework ideas, a prominent figure in the field expressed disapproval. One of the company's public policy leaders explained in it why he believes they are harmful to the development of AI and American industry in general, pointing up the possible repercussions of the Biden administration's objectives. Nvidia and other US-based chipmakers stand to be greatly impacted by this Biden idea, according to a statement posted on Nvidia's blog today by Ned Finkel, the company's vice president of government affairs. Nvidia predicted that Biden's new AI regulations will have unfavorable effects and denounced them. The future of AI policy is still up in the air, though, as Donald Trump is about to return to the White House. What precisely is the Biden administration's AI strategy? The White House outlined its ambitions for the global AI framework in a statement released today, pointing out the connection between AI and economic power as well as national security. It addresses what the White House refers to as the responsible dissemination of U.S. technology and is categorized as the interim final rule on artificial intelligence dissemination. The framework mostly focuses on who American companies can sell chips to and how many they can ship to other countries. According to the statement, it is crucial that we do not offshore this crucial technology and that the world's AI runs on American rails in order to enhance U.S. national security and economic strength. As they expand their AI ecosystems, it is crucial to collaborate with foreign governments and AI businesses to establish crucial security and trust standards. To stay informed about the latest developments from Nvidia and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nvidia stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now, let's dive into today's video.
Right. I mean, well, are your expectations they're going to maintain the rules that have been put in place?
Yeah, I don't. The companies that have been impacted, Nvidia and some others, have sort of been going at the new administration to try to, to advocate for themselves. And I got to be honest, I kind of understand why the Biden administration did this, but at the same time, doing it a week before the administration change, it feels a little shaky. So we'll see what the Trump administration does. But I want to say I'm not sure that the incoming administration. I mean, in general, this idea that we need to be tough on these other areas and we need to be U.S. first. I mean, these are things that I think the new administration is going to want. So I don't know whether or not they will be pulling these. There's some aspects of this that maybe they're not going to like, but my guess is in general over time the sanctions probably never get looser. In general, they'll probably continue to get tighter.
How do you explain to folks why you think the administration did this?
Well, I mean, it's their last chance to do something like this. And again, the general idea, like trying to control what's out there from a national security standpoint, I understand the rationale. I'm not sure I necessarily totally agree with it, but I understand it. This is their last chance to do it. And again, they're going to force the new administration, like if they want to do something about it, to do something about it. But they put a stake in the ground one way or the other with 1 week to go.
Stacey, today's highest performance chips are tomorrow's lower performance chips. I mean, how does that end up working? Is it always just that we want to stay ahead so one day they'll be able to get these chips or not?
Yeah, I mean, like I think when you go through the regulations from yesterday, and we did it, it's preliminary, but when you read through it, as they're written, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's draconian as people. I think when some of the news stories on this came out last week, people were like really, really worried that like they wouldn't be able to ship anything, or that the amount that they would be able to ship in general would be very, very curtailed. If you look at like the favored nation countries, they're the major ones where a lot of this is going, and the U.S. guys can build as as much as they need here in the U.S., and they have leeway to build outside of the U.S. to a fairly large degree. So when you sort of read through it, they weren't necessarily as draconian. They were fairly severe. Like, don't get me wrong, I was a little surprised when the news flow started to come up, but they weren't as completely draconian as maybe people had feared they might have been. And so, but this sort of stuff destroys volatility. And like, let's be honest, like when the new administration comes in, it's going to be volatility every day. Like I've said this before, but when Trump was president last time, I'm spending every morning waking up. The first thing I do is check Twitter to see what the policy of the day is. So we'll probably be going back to some of that. Volatility in general is going to be higher.
Although he cites no references, Finkel of Nvidia claims that these new AI policy recommendations were created behind closed doors and without adequate parliamentary vetting. His main concern is the implications of these new regulations for Nvidia and the AI industry as a whole. According to Finkel, the Biden administration does not believe that these AI dissemination laws will improve U.S. national security, even though it is evident that they are an anti-Chinese strategy. Although it appears that the sector will be impacted by these new regulations on AI dispersion, it is crucial to remember that U.S. AI policy may change significantly under Trump. It would be simple for the next president to choose to pursue this area of policy in a completely different way. Finkel commended Trump's first presidency in the statement for creating the foundation for the AI field's initial success and strength in the years that followed. He claims that as a result, mainstream AI is now a crucial component of all new applications, fostering economic expansion, advancing American interests, and guaranteeing American leadership in cutting-edge technology. Finkel notes that it will take 120 days for these new AI regulations to take effect, by which time Trump will have assumed the presidency. Additionally, it's possible that Trump's administration will support policies that don't restrict AI because he will be closely advising tech industry executives like David Sacks and Elon Musk. However, even if these restrictions are implemented, some analysts think that the situation for American AI companies won't be as dire as Finkel suggests, or as it might seem. The Biden administration's new regulations for AI chip exports were discussed by Ryuta Makino, research analyst at Gabelli Funds, who speculated that there might be ways to circumvent the restrictions, at least for Tier 2 nations. In reference to the set of AI diffusion guidelines, he says, "I think it will be a roadblock, but won't consider it significant." Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.